To everyone around her, María Ángeles Molina was just another face in the crowd. Middle-aged, soft-spoken, and working a modest job in Barcelona, she never raised suspicion. But behind her ordinary appearance hid a mind quietly unraveling a sinister plan. A plan that would take years to build, and only minutes to execute. She wasn't a criminal mastermind in the traditional sense. No history of violence, no outbursts, no warning signs. But she was methodical, calculated, patient. And for her, the perfect crime began not with a gun, but with a stolen identity. One she built slowly, quietly, piece by piece. Her target was Ana Páez, a colleague at the law firm where Maria worked. They weren't friends, just coworkers. But Maria watched her, studied her, memorized her routines, habits, even her handwriting. Over time, she began forging documents in Ana's name and collecting personal details from company files. What started as minor impersonation quickly escalated into full-blown identity theft. Maria opened credit cards in Ana's name, secured fraudulent loans, and worst of all, took out multiple life insurance policies under Ana's identity. Policies that named Maria herself as the beneficiary. It was no longer just fraud, it was a ticking time bomb. To the outside world, everything seemed normal. But Maria had been preparing for Ana's death for over a year. The plan was chilling in its simplicity. Invite Ana over, drug her, kill her, make it look like a tragic accident, and vanish with the money. But nothing about this case would remain hidden for long. On October 14, 2008, Maria called Ana with a fabricated story. A promising job opportunity she had supposedly arranged. Ana agreed to meet. That evening, she stepped into Maria's apartment, unaware that the locks had already been changed and that her fate had been sealed hours earlier. Inside, Maria had everything ready: duct tape, gloves, a bottle of chloroform, and a twisted setup of ropes and restraints to fake a sexual scenario. As Ana crossed the threshold, Maria struck. She drugged her, tied her down, and suffocated her, efficiently, silently, and without emotion. To cover her tracks, she staged the room to resemble a failed BDSM encounter. Ana's body was left partially dressed with a gag and blindfold in place. Then Maria left the apartment, calmly made a phone call to police, and pretended to be a horrified friend who had just found the scene. At first, the ruse worked. Police hesitated. The scene looked bizarre, possibly accidental. But it didn't take long for the pieces to fall apart. Surveillance footage contradicted Maria's timeline. DNA from the restraints matched her profile. Her alibi, crumbling. And the forensic evidence told a different story. When authorities searched Maria's computer and home, what they uncovered was staggering. Forged insurance documents, practice signatures, photos of Ana's ID, and detailed notes outlining the timeline of the murder. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was premeditated murder disguised as administrative paperwork, and it had almost worked. By the time Maria was arrested, the media had already picked up the story, dubbing her La Viuda Negra de Barcelona, the Black Widow of Barcelona. The coldness of the crime shocked the nation. But even more disturbing was how long she had been preparing. For 2 years, Maria had essentially lived a double life. Half her time spent impersonating Ana, the other half rehearsing her murder. In court, she barely showed emotion. The prosecution laid out every forged document, every lie, every financial move she had made under Ana's name. The motive was simple: greed. But the execution, both literal and logistical, was terrifyingly clinical. This wasn't someone who snapped. This was someone who planned. She was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Not enough, some said, for someone who had manipulated the system so thoroughly and killed in such a calculated way. But in Spain, the law allows for conditional leave after serving part of a sentence, a controversial policy meant to help prisoners reintegrate into society. In 2025, 15 years into her sentence, Maria was granted one of these temporary releases. It wasn't her first. On paper, she was a model prisoner. Low risk, good behavior. No red flags. But outside the prison walls, Maria hadn't changed. In fact, she had allegedly begun planning another murder. The details are still emerging, but what authorities uncovered was chilling. Maria had made contact with a suspected hitman. Through encrypted messaging apps and burner phones, she had discussed targeting another woman, reportedly someone she had become fixated on during her prison leave. Her reason? Still unclear. Police intercepted communications just in time. Surveillance, wiretaps, and phone records painted a dark picture, one of obsession, control, and unfinished business. This time, Maria didn't kill. But the intention was there. And the timing, while still on supervised leave, has triggered public outrage. News of her rearrest reignited the media storm. Headlines across Spain called it a failure of justice. Victim advocacy groups demanded immediate reform to Spain's prison leave policies. How could a convicted murderer, caught red-handed plotting another crime, be trusted with freedom of any kind? The victim's family, especially Ana's parents, were devastated. They had believed the nightmare was over. But hearing that their daughter's killer had not only been allowed out, but was allegedly planning to kill again, reopened wounds that had never fully healed. Maria now faces a second trial, this time for conspiracy to commit murder while under state supervision. If convicted, she will likely lose all chances of future release and could face a much harsher sentence. But for many, it's already too late. The system failed once, and it almost failed again. This case isn't just about one woman's greed or violence. It's a story of how a calm face can hide dangerous intentions, and how even the most careful systems can be manipulated. María Ángeles Molina didn't just steal a life, she nearly stole justice itself.